G'day and welcome to another edition of AFL Goldfields TV, and we've got a very super exciting guest with us. We've got Jeff Whittaker, who is the senior coach of the AFL Women's Goldfields team. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks, Chris, for that. Fantastic to be here.
Now, you had the historical day this past Sunday, which is very exciting for the competition. You being the head coach, what was your sort of feeling heading into the game with all the hype surrounding it?
Look, I think it was just excitement more than anything. The girls were, they're really genuine excitement, which I suppose for us was a breath of fresh air as coaches, that we had girls commit so much to the program. I know it's only a very short program that we ran, and there was only 2 training sessions as a group, but just the excitement and the will to want to represent the league, I just thought was a breath of fresh air for us as coaches.
It's certainly been an exciting period as well for Goldfields in female footy, with quite a few representative games over the past sort of 6 to 8 weeks, which is great because the girls have the opportunity to play that extra game of footy, but also play and learn around some quality players and coaches.
I think that's right, and look, I think a lot of the girls wouldn't have played at that sort of level before, so to be able to play at that level and know if they want to continue on with their football at a higher level, i.e. VAFL, AFL Women's, that's you can probably see the next sort of standard that it's going to, and I think that was really good for our girls to be able to see that there is a pathway, but obviously there's a lot of work to do, and I know they all want to play AFLW or VFL at the moment, but it's going to get tight like it does with the boys as well, so you're just going to have to put the work in. But look, we were really proud of our girls, and they really enjoyed the day, which was fantastic.
With the more games we sort of see from Sunday, will obviously be a push for the AFL to get more teams in the future, which is great. They're sort of seeing that this has been taken a lot more seriously, and leagues are putting in a lot more work to make sure that we're seeing more of these games to get more talent into the system.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you'd really hope that, I spoke to a radio station in Melbourne leading up to the game, and a big hope for me was that there'd be AFLW recruiters and also VFL people there, because, as I said before, the girls really do want to go to that next level, and this, I thought that was a fantastic opportunity for those sort of people to be there and notice, somebody among who they might have known about. Mm-hmm. And I think some of our girls put their hand up to, maybe showcase what sort of skills they do have.
Now let's look back to Sunday. You had a quality list. You tried a lot of teams in Division 1 and Division 2 were featured on the day, which is great. Obviously, it's not something you set yourself out to do. You want to try and pick the best players available. But what was the sort of expectation sitting into the game against a team that was also new? The league was quite new itself.
Oh, look, I think it was a very much an unknown. We didn't know we knew that they had roughly 42 teams in their competition, where we have 10. But again, they're a new competition where we've probably been established a little bit longer. So I suppose the expectation was for us as coaches to try and give everybody an opportunity, or to try and have most clubs represented, which we did in the 28, and also try and put a really competitive side out on the ground as well. And look, at the end of the day, I don't think the scoreline probably reflects the game. I thought we had as much as the football as the VAFA girls, but we probably just didn't use as well, and they were probably a little bit quicker over the ground. But if it had been an 8-goal, 4-goal result, I think that was probably a little bit fairer. But look, I can't take anything away from the way the girls competed, and that's all we asked of them. 100% effort from all of them. They gave us that, so that was great.
The first half was a bit one-sided, but the girls come out at half-time. What did you sort of say to the girls coming out at half-time break, because they sort of they come out with a new energy, a new lease on life with their footy?
Yeah, look, we changed things around a little bit on the board as well, I suppose. We sort of felt like we needed to get a bit more run out of the girls in the middle and get a bit more grunt out of there, I suppose, and we did that, and we sort of said, girls, it'd be nice to get on the scoreboard. Because if we do get on the scoreboard, then we can get ourselves back into the game. And I said to them at three-quarter time, even though probably the game was out of reach, I really thought once we got that goal and we got those couple of points, that I could see a little bit of, not panic, but a bit of change in direction from the VAFA girls and also their coaches, because we were near them. I just thought it was important that we got on the board and then gave ourselves a chance to stay in the game.
Well, I thought one of the key areas that was a sort of standout for the locals was the run off half back was quite impressive. You had a few good runners there that sort of come off there. The ball was going down there enough, yep. But the opportunity for them to sort of run and carry the ball was quite good, and a few good smothers and trying to set up the play via the wing.
Yeah, we sort of did go in with a side that we thought could run off half back, because again, the girls would never have played most of them on a ground that big. And, so we needed to get that run off half-back flank, and Claire Burden from East Point, she can certainly run, and, we had Shaylee Murphy-Burke from Drysdale, another girl that can run, so we tried to make sure we always had that run off halfback. And look, I think if you looked at the stats at the end of the day, the inside 50s, there wasn't a lot of difference, but obviously they made more better of their inside 50s than what we did.
You went a little bit small in the forward line, which is good. You want to give this chance to use that pace, which you guys have. But unfortunately, they probably had a few small key players across half-back as well. While your half-back was solid, they also had the ability to match down the other end. Yeah,
look, we just thought we were a little bit tall at one stage, and we put a couple of our smaller, quicker players down because the ball was spending a fair bit of time hitting the turf. So we thought if we could get some run down there, we might be able to jag a goal or two. And that's probably what happened in the third quarter. We just adjusted a little bit, and I think got 1-2, and I think one of those was touched on the line. Another one might have hit the post. So with a bit of luck, would have been 3 goals, and it changes the whole complexion of the game. Bailey said had quite an impressive last quarter. I think she at least got almost 10 touches over the course of that quarter itself. She's and you used her on and off the bench as well. So when she came on the ground, she had a good impact, and I was able to have a spell and then go back on again and do the same job. Yeah, we did our homework with the girls, and also spoke to the coaches, and the girls also when the invitations went in, where they actually where they play their game. So we tried to use them in those positions and not make them unfamiliar with where they were playing. And Bailey is a real hard nut in the middle, so we used her, but then we thought we knew that she was very good down back, so we put her down there, and she certainly stopped a lot of play in that last quarter. And for her size, she does a fantastic job. One of the areas where the game was sort of won and lost was the ruck. Their player in the ruck was quite outstanding. She started off a little bit slow, while your player in the ruck sort of started quite strong earlier on, and but then they started to win it out of the midfield from there. Yeah, and look, and anyone coach football know if you win it out of the centre enough times, you're going to win the game. So we probably lacked another tall in there, but. As I said before, it's a real much an unknown what they were going to roll up and what we were going to roll up with. And I suppose looking back at it now, we maybe needed another tall and maybe 1 or 2 more players that could run a little bit quicker. But at the end of the day, you pick what you think's right at the time. And I thought, the girls competed all day. And as I said before, I think the scoreline probably didn't reflect the game. I think there was probably... I'm not saying we should have won the game at any... But they did get their goals in quick spurts. Like when they got one, they got another, and then so maybe 20% of the game they hit the scoreboard pretty hard. But other than that, it was quite even. Yeah, well, I think it was the first quarter. It was 8 seconds to go, and they kicked the goal, and at quarter time was 1 goal to nothing. So it was just a real arm wrestle that first quarter. And as I said, I looked up, and I think it was 1952, and I'm thinking, don't let them get one here. Sure enough, got one, and it was 1 goal to nothing at quarter time, so it was a real arm wrestle early. But when they got that goal, I mean, as much as it was a shame it was kicked against Goldfields, but the feeling, the atmosphere after that goal was kicked, the girls celebrated on the ground, but the grandstand, the emotion, the cheers it was quite outstanding, which shows that people were excited for that to happen. Well, I mentioned that to the girls, and after the game, just the atmosphere. We don't experience that much, I suppose, in the Ballarat Footy League until you hit finals. So for that just to be an interleague game with the noise, and I suppose with the grandstand of that now, it gets trapped in a bit there with the noise. But yeah, and when we got our goal, obviously they were pretty excited too, the people there. But I think the noise really added to the day, the atmosphere from the crowd. Certainly a good sign moving forward. Who do you think were some of your standout players on the day? I thought Amy McDonald did really well from Redan. Amy played mid and forward for us, and she's won 3 league best and fairest in her time with the under-18s at Redan. Bailey, as you said before, half-back flank. Shaylee Murphy-Burke from Drysdale gave us some good run. And Claire was good off the half-back flank. So, look, I think everyone at times contributed. We probably just, as I said earlier, we probably just didn't use the ball as well as they did, and probably got beaten in the pace over the ground. But we were really happy with how it ended up. Fantastic. Well, we're happy to have you on board to sort of look back at last week's games, mate, and we do appreciate your time, and we wish you and all the girls best of luck going forward in future representative games. Thanks.